When I think about rolling into year end and the wonderful time of year, and the peace of mind that I think a lot of people are looking for kind of long term, these things kind of tie together. And, if a client has a very, straightforward setup, like you mentioned, and they're still cutting checks and they're comfortable, but what does the long tail of that look like as end of life does come? And related to those tax table updates and the compliance updates that are coming, 2025 is a perfect example to really focus in on kind of the people aspect and kind of the data hygiene and analytics that tie into year end, because just related to the process that they're going to move through, they're going to do kind of their normal, modus operating process to kind of move through their normal scenarios or workarounds that they've built for years across GP. But it's a good time to start that planning process and really document what are you doing through that piece right there, and are there pain points that you could solve for with a future step move? Running payroll and compliance audits related to tax codes and a lot of the big, beautiful bills and ACA field updates that are coming in 2025 are critical, thinking about 2029 and move forward, because those are the pieces that with end of life, you might be losing that mainstream support. And like you said, you're not going to have that behemoth of Microsoft behind you focusing on GP innovation. They are focused on BC innovation, and there are people like Ace and Greenshades here to ensure that we keep our processes code compliant and we help clients with those moves. So we go through a payroll kind of readiness assessment in general, but clients should be thinking about that process now as they go through year end, documenting what that audit process looks like, documenting the key reports and kind of how they look to wrap up their year end processes, right? If there's specific dependencies or manual workarounds or fixes that whether they rely on a partner like Ace4 or they're running themselves, those are the important things to start thinking about now or documenting. So as you think about that forward step in the short term to long term, you have kind of the first view of where the pain might lie. Because I think as people are generally moving through the normal payroll processes, there might not be a massive, positioning of pain or a lot of things happening, but especially during year end with all the tax filing, compliance, and audit updates that they have to go through, there's a number of things that they're constantly staying up to date with, especially if they're a current Greenshades client. We're still very reliant on those tax tables in GP. And as soon as they stop getting those tax updates, it's going to be a little bit different of a process, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, that was kind of what I was referencing earlier is, we tend to get caught up in our day-to-day tasks, and if I'm in the payroll office, what am I focused on? Well, I'm focused on getting the next payroll out. Okay. That's what I'm focused on. And at this time of year, we have, the ability and the requirement really to start thinking more strategically. So you're already in that mindset. So start thinking strategically about what you're doing from a payroll standpoint. Start thinking strategically about what you're doing from a systems standpoint and systems that support your business. So they kind of dovetail together nicely. And it's a good time of year for you to start thinking about those things. Again, we're not asking you that you have to make dramatic change right now, but it's a great time because you're already in that mindset to start thinking about these things. And taking a few extra minutes to kind of document some things down to your point. I think you mentioned business process, which is so critical. Start documenting those things down, start documenting your business process, and more importantly, what works and what doesn't work. And what are the things that you do that you sit there and go, oh, God, why do I do this way? We all do that. And it's because it's the way we know how to do it, the way we were taught to do it, the way it was always been done, whatever the reason is. So it's a great time of year to really start thinking about that. So yeah, I mean, short term, we got a lot of things on our plate right now, but if you can take that little extra time to start thinking about these things, I think it's a great investment, Rob.
Right. I kind of see it as kind of it gives you an opportunity for planning. It's the best, current stage of diagnostic tool that you might have internally, right? Before you get to working with other organizations or thinking about a fast forward move, like you're mentioning, it's really taking, that diagnostic tool of year end and what is the process today? Because when you think about a migration, whether it's next year or multiple years from now, it's going to be, 3, 5, 10-fold of those problems. If you don't start documenting them now and kind of understanding how to modernize whenever you move forward, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right. Do we want to move into the midterm? Do we think we covered this term?
I think that definitely makes a lot of sense, just related to, mapping those processes into dependencies, thinking about people first and rolling into the data. When you think about post year end, what does that day-to-day task list kind of look like? How do you build off of that work from that year end diagnostic, that year end understanding of kind of where you're at today?